Good evening traders and welcome to this week's Forex Focus. I hope you've all had a wonderful week in the markets. There have been some excellent opportunities out there to trade. I hope you've also been following along with some of my Instagram posts and videos I've been putting up about the trades that I'm looking at, because there's been some interesting things there as well. What we're going to do in this show, as always, we're going to look at the opportunities that could be setting up in the major currency pairs for the week ahead. So let's delay no further and start looking at the Australian dollar. Now the Australian dollar, as you can see on the daily chart over here, is in a big downtrend. You can see that if we zoom out just a little bit over here, the market, going back to literally January of this year, has just been moving down, edging further and further down, and respecting the trend lines on the way down, the downward sloping trend lines. What we've had more recently is the market has broken through a previous level of support, going actually really quite far back there. So you can see there's been some support over here in the past. And then obviously more recently it created a support level over there, which we can probably see if we look a little bit more closely at the 1 hour charts. You can see it a little bit more clearly. So the market came down to this level, broke through it, went back to that trend lines, now sold off and gave us some really nice opportunities to sell from that trend line there. And we're in an interesting position because from a short-term perspective, we might find that the markets kind of gravitate towards this support level down here at 0.7014. However, having said that, we would be looking for an opportunity to buy when it gets down to this level. But if the market doesn't do that and closes back above this level over here, which is a 0.786, then we could see a bit of a rally up towards this downward sloping trend line over there. So at the moment, in the short term, whilst the market remains below this level, I'm going to look for short-term selling opportunities. If the market reverses and closes back above this level, then I'll be looking for buying opportunities. Looking at the euro dollar, so the euro dollar, as you can see, has been, well, it sold off a little bit, then it's been moving sideways, and then more recently we've had a little bit of a downwards movement, so some downwards momentum there, and the market is holding beneath this sort of like a range that the market was holding in for quite some time. As you can see here, is moving back and forth within this range. It's now broken below that. And I like the opportunity on the 1 hour chart. If you can see here, basically if the market holds beneath this level, then we get a break beneath this trend line here. Then I'll be looking to take a sell, and I'll be looking for the market to sort of aim towards the 1.1289 area for support. So that's a good looking sell opportunity that we have on our hands there. The pound dollar is bouncing off of this upward sloping trend line, but we are going to be capped by this resistance here. What I would say with regards to the pound dollar is if we're looking for some short-term opportunity, the momentum is to the upside, but we have to be very wary of the resistance up here at 1.3289. When the market does get up there, that's when we need to kind of take the position off, take some profits, and potentially look for the market to continue rather, its downwards movement that we had from April of this year. So at the moment, while the market holds above this trend line, the short-term momentum will be to the upside. So I'll be looking for some short-term opportunities to buy the pound dollar. But when we get up there, then obviously I will be looking for some sells. And if the market turns around from here again and closes beneath this trend line, then I'll definitely be looking to sell the markets there. New Zealand dollar has really shown its hand. It's got a lot of momentum to the downside. It's broken through this previous level of support here, gave us a nice opportunity to sell the market when it got down there. If you kind of pay attention to price action, what we like to see is the market sort of break a level, do a bit of thinking around that level, and once it's done a little bit of thinking, then the re-break of that level really confirms where the big money is at, and that was a great opportunity to sell the market here. What we would like to see now is for the market to pull back somewhat towards this breakout level, give it another retest, and then sell off from there. Or any sort of a pullback in this momentum here. If we sell here, we're kind of just chasing the market. So we need to wait for the pullback. But once we do get the pullback, we certainly want to be sellers of this market. The dollar CAD has shown its hand. It's broken down. It's pulled back a little bit, as you can see here, to this previous level of support, which was this big level over here. The price action is a little bit untidy, so from that perspective it makes it a little bit more difficult to trade. But as you can see here, what I'm looking at is a break of this trend line here in order to start selling the market. When we get that, then I'll kind of assess at that point in time, see what the price action is like. If it's really, really untidy and it's kind of up and down and everywhere, then I'll skip it. But if it's got a little bit more orderly by that point, I will look to get in there and take the short. The dollar franc, well, it's no secret that the dollar franc is rallying. Really, you have no option here but to look for the long opportunities. We haven't had the pullback yet. I'm a little bit dubious of buying a pullback on the hour chart. As you can see from the daily and the 4-hour chart, we're due a pullback on these time frames. And if you don't, that doesn't make too much sense. Maybe I'll do a webinar one time just to kind of explain how the momentum on the different time frames will affect your trades. But ultimately, I'm feeling like that we do need to have a little bit more of a pullback on the longer term time frame before we take this long. But absolutely want to be long this pair going into next week. And then finally, we've got the dollar yen, which is approaching or is at a very, very significant level of resistance, which you can see here on the daily chart. So a very, very significant level of resistance there. We've got a nice upward sloping trend line. Okay, so what I would be looking for here ultimately is for the market to hold beneath this level and then give us a little bit of a break of this trend line here, followed by a pullback and a retest. And then once we've had that retest, look to get in there on the short, because I do think that this is due a pullback. The price action here for me is phenomenal. I love it. And ultimately, that's what I'm looking for going into next week. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this week's Forex Focus. I hope it all makes sense to you. If you have any questions, as always, please post it beneath the video. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel so that you're always in the know and you get all of the updates as and when I release them. Otherwise, have a fantastic week trading, and I look forward to speaking to you all soon. Take care now.